Episode 29 Frozen Dreams Part 1. Champaklal woke up feeling restless, tired, and devoid of energy. This had been his condition since so many years now. He forced himself to sit up in bed and then laboriously walked till the community toilet of the village. The whole house was already awake. Gordhan and Riti, his son and daughter-in-law, and his grandchildren were hurriedly walking over to the bus stop. Champaklal wondered when will he see them taking a bus to the airport to migrate to the USA. Their visa was rejected twice, plunging the family in gloom. Champaklal's frustration increased when Pethabai's son Vipul sneaked into the US, began to work in a motel, and sent back money to his family. Champaklal had had a weak constitution since his birth, making him incapable for hard labor in the fields. He had a small but fertile piece of agricultural land, which yielded a good harvest if properly tended to. But Champaklal had to give away his field to Ramanlal on the Bhagya basis, a system of lending the land to someone to till it and in return have a share in the harvest. Ramanlal was quick to understand that Champaklal's weak health wouldn't allow him to manage his fields, and he would need a bhagya. So he gradually increased his share in the harvest from 25% to 40% and lastly to 50%. Champaklal hoped that his son Gordhan will take charge and throw Ramanlal out. But Gordhan was the fourth child, the first three being daughters. The son, moreover, had to be sent to the newly set up school in the village. A childhood spent in the school premises kept Gordhan away from the fields, and hence, after his primary education, he refused to work in the fields. Champaklal thought that his son will become educated and become a big sahab and end the family's financial woes. So he didn't object to Gordhan's schooling at all. When Gordhan got into the 12th standard, Champaklal talked non-stop about how brilliant his son was and how he will become a big man one day. What the poor father didn't know was that Gordhan was just an average student. When Gordhan enrolled in a degree college in the city of Palanpur, the family had no money. Champaklal borrowed some money from the Sarpanch, dreaming of the day when his son will become a sahab and earn lakhs of rupees. All this while, Gordhan drifted away from his village, his fields, and his family, as even a relatively smaller city like Palanpur lured him completely. But after Gordhan finished his graduation, he suddenly realized that the family now expected him to become the man and earn and unburden them of their financial woes. There was the loan to be paid back. The fields needed care. The house in the village was in a shabby condition. The married sisters had their own demands. The younger sister had to be married off. Champaklal's health needed urgent consultation in a city hospital, and his mother needed some rest. Gordhan began to apply for every sarkari recruitment that would be advertised. But sadly, he never cleared even the written exam. 2 years passed. Gordhan and the family began to despair. The village folk sarcastically called him Badela Ganela Sahib, the educated Sahab. And all the Sahab could do was sit at home and apply for jobs. Absence of any other economic outlets in the surrounding areas and devoid of any specific skills, Gordhan wasn't capable of starting his own venture. It was then that Ramnik Bhai contacted Gordhan. Ramnik Bhai was an agent who helped young people from the villages to migrate to the USA. He would scour the villages in search of unemployed educated youth in the rural areas of the state and make arrangements for them to fly away to the USA. 6 young boys from the village had managed to sneak into the US. They sent back money to their families, and Ramnik Bhai used them as an example everywhere.
અરે અહીંયા હું મળવાનું છે યાર, નોકરી છે નહીં ને ધંધા માટે પૈસા જોઈએ. What will you get here? There are no jobs available, and to set up a business you need money. Go to America. Life will be all settled. Our people own all big 5-star hotels there. You will be rolling in money in no time. Send the money back to Papa. He will throw it on the face of the Sarpanch. And you people then buy that fertile piece of land outside the village. Arre, you will not be able to count money, Gordhan. America is the place for you. They want Indians because they need skilled persons.
Gordhan was repeatedly told by his family each day how Manya and Chhagan and Hardik all sent money back home. He knew all the 6 boys from the village who had gone to the US. None of them were properly educated. In fact, Chhagan hadn't even cleared his 10th standard. And yet he had managed to pass the English language exam and had flown to the US. Ramnik Bhai demanded 5 lakhs for the migration to the US, with the promise of providing Gordhan with a certificate of English proficiency as well. Gordhan was stunned. Where on earth would he find so much money? Gordhan got depressed and frustrated. His family was decidedly unhappy, especially Champaklal. At such a point, the Sarpanch, who was basically a nice man, asked Gordhan to start teaching at the village's newly constructed secondary school and start earning some amount at least. Gordhan had no option and agreed for it. The financial situation didn't improve much, but at least for the time being, it stopped the wagging tongues. However, in the long run, Gordhan realized that this income won't solve their issues. Raman Lal was now keeping 60% share of the harvest. So a new Bhagya had to be searched for, which wasn't easy. And the other commitments still loomed large. Going to the US was the only option available. Gordhan began to plan. He borrowed a huge amount of money, got his younger sister married, took his father to a city hospital. Then he himself married Reeti, a teacher in the primary section. Together, Gordhan and Reeti began to save every penny to be able to go to the US. Ramnik Bhai's rates had now doubled, but Gordhan knew going to the US was the only way to escape from the vicious circle of poverty and unemployment back in India. The US dollar at any given time fetched much more than the Indian rupee, isn't it? Gordhan wanted a comfortable life for himself and for his family. The only time Gordhan's planning went wrong was when he and Reeti had 2 children, making their family much larger. Ramnik Bhai demanded 50 lakhs for the entire family to be able to sneak into the US. Gordhan agreed. Setting aside all protests from Champaklal, he decided to sell off a major portion of his land. Arey, look, Papa, as it is, you or I don't go to the fields. Then why do you want to hold on to it? This money will make us settle in America. And then, like Vipul and Chagan and Manya and Hardik, I will also send money to you. And we will be able to buy a bike that Manjula's husband is demanding. So let's just sell this portion, Papa. Thus, on the 17th December 2021, Gordhan and his family flew to Toronto, little knowing what life had in store for them there.